Welcome back to the Millennial View with Dylan and Josh. Before we get started on a topic which I'm pretty excited about today, let's just throw it over to you and just kind of tell everybody what you've been up to and where you've been the past couple weeks, and why this is the one you wanted to make your coming back onto the podcast. I don't know, just kind of bridge the gap for some people.
Okay, yeah. So just to summarize some things, like since the last time I was on the podcast, I'll summarize that down to like three things. Like three biggest things that have changed in my life since then was I started a new job actually at Amazon. So I was in my old job for like over 4 years. So it was like a kind of cultural shock at first. So I'm switching careers, switching jobs. So yeah, I'm at Amazon now and in peak season. Yeah, you guys, I got everybody's, I was part of that. So it was something.
Did you see the news that the CEO quit, Jeff Bezos?
What?
You didn't know that?
I mean, he just posted some news on our little site.
Oh, you guys got... Yeah, he quit. Jeff Bezos stepped down as the CEO. So he's still on the board. So a lot of people are thinking, me included, that there's a scandal on its way. Like something happened.
Yeah.
And part of what people are thinking, at least that on the outside, are thinking because of the way that he was treating his employees and treating them not great. Well, so he thinks that, or people think that there's like some sort of storm coming for him.
From what I heard, there was a lot that changed when I started. Like as far as like the benefits go, as far as like the working schedule, the hours, they changed a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I started, I mean, there's a lot of things that are a lot better now that employees really like. As far as like vacation time, as far as is like hours you have to work in like a day and a week. I mean, they minimized it.
Now, a lot of people think it's from the, and we have the opportunity to look on the inside, and maybe we should have a whole podcast about Amazon.
I mean,
because
we could.
That'd be kind of cool. I think it's probably the biggest company that's out there right now.
It's
you
huge.
know what I mean? It's huge. But a lot of people, it's like slave drivers over there.
Yeah,
is that the case?
No. I mean, it's really not. Like, especially what I do, like.
And you're on inbound, right?
I'm inbound, yeah.
Okay.
But the first month was like, it was torture. It sucked. I had to go in there. I had to bust my butt off for like,
And keep in mind, this was during Christmas and Black Friday when November. He first started, November. Yep.
Yeah, November, December. And so basically, it was a new facility. So basically, they had people come from all over the country basically to help get this facility up and running. And obviously, when they hire all these new people, they want to see who are the ones that stand out.
Right.
Who are those guys?
Survival of the fittest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so after like the first 6 weeks of being there, they asked me, hey, do you want to train to basically be like an assistant manager more so to speak? Yeah. So I work a lot more with like numbers still. There's so much to learn that I haven't even dipped my feet in the water yet on, but it's definitely something where I hope to grow, hope to change, get away from, Ohio, hopefully is my dream someday.
Yeah, he's been talking about it forever. He'll be back. Everybody always comes back to Toledo.
They don't all come back.
So you said that there were three main things, one of them being a job shift. What were the other two things?
The second thing, obviously, so I have a son. I have a 5-year-old son, and I've been seeing him a lot. Carson, yes, his name's Carson. He is something else.
Yeah, little ball.
He's
energy.
A little me, 100%.
Yeah, we'll throw up a picture that Dylan posted on his Facebook. We'll throw it up right now. But take a look at that. Like they look exactly alike.
Yeah.
And you said his mom doesn't like that.
No. I mean, I don't.
She's like, no,
doesn't like it. So it is what it is. But
got a little Dylan Alts running around.
He is.
That's awesome.
Definitely. So I mean, I've been spending a lot more.
It's been cool watching you do that.
Yeah, a lot of quality time with him, and then as well as like going. I've been going to like the gym consistently. Obviously with COVID, and then they shut down for a little while, and I was out of that. And then during peak season, like the month of December, I think I only went like maybe 4 or 5 times the entire month to the gym. So that was like a step back. Yeah. But I'm starting to get back in a better routine of going consistently. Nice. So those are like the 3 biggest things that I think
that you've been doing since like 2019. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned going to the gym because had Tyler on an episode or 2, or maybe it was the last episode, and he was talking about like that, and I was trying to figure out how to get like where people find like their motivation to even get into it. So that was a pretty cool conversation. If you guys haven't already heard it or seen it, definitely check that one out. But yeah, I mean, I think one thing you and I just sitting at the kitchen counter were just talking about on why we stopped in 2019 before COVID.
Right.
So it's like what we can't necessarily blame our break on COVID.
No.
Part of like coming back might have been delayed because of that. But I think what we ended up deducing it down to is we had a huge kitchen remodel.
Yeah.
And maybe if I feel like editing it in there, I'll throw some pictures in there. But it was a big project.
Yeah.
And I think both of us kind of just felt unresolved until even recently when we put some of the final touches on it. There still needs to be like some painting done. But because it's like in your face every day, it's like anytime you have free time to do something, we were like, okay, what do we need to do left in the kitchen? You know, what
there was
final
always
touches,
something,
you know,
always something.
And big shout out to my parents and my uncle. They helped out a lot, you know, and that was cool. And now it looks amazing. But after that, we, had the energy to do it. But then, when COVID happened, I know you were working a lot.
Yeah.
I was working a lot, and then I shifted to a new job too. So it's
I think that can lead into like what like our head point or our topic is of this episode, right?
Yeah. So the topic this week that I'm excited to talk about is chasing your dream. So a lot of at least over the past month, I have felt ultra hyper motivated to just grind. You know what I mean?
Right.
I will go and work 9 hours a day and come out and still have so much energy to work on like things like this or things like the company that we have, TMV Studios and whatnot. And I thought it's just an interesting topic to talk about of chasing your dream. So a good way to lead into the topic, I think, would be posing the question to you listeners out there or to the people watching this, as well as to you. I'm going to have you answer this and I'll answer it as well. If money was not an object, so right now you could do anything, be anywhere, what would you be doing?
Oh, without question, I'd be traveling the world. Yeah.
Doing?
I'd be, filming, doing media, doing... I mean, I would absolutely love that. Just like, traveling the globe and like vlogging like my entire journey.
So like vlogging, so like YouTube or something like that. Yeah.
All over like, like trying new cultures, just like exploring, adventuring. Like that's just what I love doing. That's cool. Just being out in like nature and in the wilderness and just like exploring and just imagine doing that. Like, start in the country first, but
start domestic, then go foreign. Yeah.
I think that would be amazing, like just learning new cultures and how other people live, because so many people live so much differently than we do. And I think like just, experimenting that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I think what's cool about it that I've realized for myself, because I think I've tried to put myself in a box so many different times just to realize that one thing or another is not my passion because I hyper focus on just that one thing. So I don't know that I have like a great answer to this, but I think right now, at least where my passion is similar to you in media, but more in the business of media and how it works on the back end of things. I love doing things like this in front of the camera too.
I'm sorry. When you said no money involved, that's why I was like, oh, if no money's involved.
I think if no money's involved, then yes, obviously most people are just going to want to travel and vacation. But I mean like more of like a career, more of like if it didn't matter, like let's say like you're in a situation right now where you have a ton of bills and you can't make a jump to do something else. I'm saying like if none of that was a problem, you could tomorrow step into your dream job. What would that be? You know what I mean? And vlogging and doing that is some people's real job. They go and do nature photography and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And it's media related.
Okay. Yeah.
Mine is just like, obviously I want something to do with music and I want music in there in some form or another, but I really think managing right now has been pretty cool. I've been working with, a couple different people and just helping them elevate their website or edit their YouTube videos and things like that. Which has been really cool. And then we have our own thing going. And then I've been doing stuff with like Jamie, so pretty much I don't want to confine myself to just one thing.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff that I have passions and just want to like pursue it to the fullest.
Yeah.
But I think one question that comes with that is, right now, most people are like in 9 to 5 types of jobs, and they're not able to like have whether it's have the time or whether it's the financial means or whatever it might be. I guess the question that I want to pose out there is, why do you think people don't want to take that leap of faith? You know what I mean? I've watched a couple different videos. One was with Travis Barker, drummer of Blink-182. Another one was Steve Harvey. And there have been multiple people that have like in their videos, they're like, you just have to take the leap of faith, have no safety net. And it goes against everything we're thinking of, like, be responsible, be smart, have a stable job, have all this. And what it does is it like, I feel like limits us to be able to like take that leap of faith and just jump in.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I'm working 40 plus hours a week. You're working 50 hours a week.
Yeah. No, 40
or 40 now. 40 now.
Yeah.
But how do you manage chasing like what you're passionate about while still doing that? Why do you think people struggle so much to like take the leap?
I think the biggest thing is,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing. I mean, even right now,
hard.
Right now for me working this job, I like the job. I like what I do, but like, I'll be honest with you that I'm like thinking about if I spent, and one of my friends that I work with, he said, if you spent the same amount of energy and time, let's say you work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Imagine you spent that 40 hours doing something you're passionate about.
Right.
Instead of helping fund somebody else's pocket. You know what I mean? Put money into like Jeff Bezos's pocket.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you used, because you're a hard worker.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are considering you for management objectively, that makes you a hard worker. I think people would consider me a hard worker too. Imagine using that same effort and energy into something. Don't you think you would succeed? You know what I mean? Who cares about saturation and competition? Don't you think you would succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing people may be afraid of like taking that jump or taking that leap is maybe they're afraid of what people would think, like, oh, you just up and quit, but
that's
ultimately,
irresponsible.
right?
Right. Exactly.
What people will think of them, or and then in the back of their heads they're afraid of, well, what if I fail at this? But at the same time, why are you working a job that you hate, every day of your life? Why?
It's like it's such a weird thing. And when I was like preparing for this podcast, like I just write questions in my phone or whatever. And I'm wondering, do you think it has anything to do with like, are we wired to think and operate this way?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think everybody's wired differently, but in a way,
everybody's individual and has their own characteristics. But like from an early age, when we go into K through 12 school, you get up. Yeah. You go to school at 7 or 8, and then you get off school at 2, and then you have the weekends off.
Right.
It's mentally, I feel like, and maybe this is just a conspiracy theory, but it's mentally training you to get used to that type of schedule.
Yeah. So
then when you there are jobs that have you work on the weekend, you're like, wait, what? What is this?
Right.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah,
why am I working on the weekend?
Yeah.
Or so that those jobs are forcing you into like being a banker or being something where you can get weekends off or 2 days in a row off or something like that. And it's not like, this is why I like that we went to Penna, because even though it was structured in the same school format, it at least educated us about what else is out there in like the vocational world in terms of like passions and like video and stuff like that. It educated us on things that normal traditional schools don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think it's, you're right. I think people are afraid that they might fail.
Yeah. That's a big one.
And they're afraid that
or what other
people will think. And I guess in those, and I've struggled with the same things. And what I'm kind of doing with myself now is, anytime it's like, if I'm gonna fail, the job I'm working right now and other jobs are gonna be there, even if I fail.
Well, another thing is, some people may not even know exactly what it is they want to do.
Yeah.
I think that may be like one of the biggest things, like ultimately, especially millennials like our age, like I mean, in your 20s, it's like a confusing, age, I guess you could say. Like, some people may not know exactly what career they want to do or where they want to be, or may not even know or understand what opportunities are actually out there unless you kind of like educate yourself and do that. And that can be done all sorts of ways, as far as like there's all sorts of ways you can like ultimately it
like
begins,
internships or any type of thing you can do to like test out different like jobs, you know what I mean? Like
it begins with like understanding yourself and learning who you are and knowing who you are, because if you don't know who you are, then you are not going to be where you want to be or enjoy doing what you are doing.
Right. And I feel like too, in line with that is a part of the reason that people are struggling so much to actually find what they really want to do is because of things like social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they see all these people living this in some ways unrealistic lifestyle, because a lot of those people that are like famous and things like that really they're not like super lavish. Like the people that are grounded and are actually doing this for like living don't go out there flaunting it and doing stuff like that. But on Instagram, for instance, Instagram I feel like is the worst in some ways in terms of like how people represent what they want people to think their lives are.
Right. Or TikTok now. Let's not forget about TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is TikTok can be interesting for sure.
I don't spend enough time on there, but I think if you spend too much time on social media, that's another thing.
Too much of anything is not good.
Right.
Too much of social media, whatever it is, can also be just not good. But I think one thing that would be helpful to people that are like struggling with that, especially like another reason people might say, oh, I don't want to jump into anything is because I'm too old. I'm 27, you're 28 now. So it's like, we passed our peak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, I think in that way, TikTok motivates me.
Yeah.
Because the other day I saw this very cute old lady and she was TikToking, and there's this other couple and they were old. They're like in their 70s and they're doing TikTok and they're just living their best life. You know what I mean? And they're getting, objectively they're successful because they're getting millions of likes and stuff like that. So I don't think for anyone out there that's like, I'm too old or I'm too this or I'm too that.
Right. Do not make up excuses.
Yeah. Don't let that excuse come into your life because that's just gonna, if anything, that's just gonna like,
it'll bring you down.
It's gonna bring you down. It's gonna take your motivation away. Same thing for anything else out there of like, oh, what do people think? Like you mentioned, focus on yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's your life at the end of the day. And yes, you have your friend groups, but the people that care for you and actually want to see you succeed, they're going to stay around. Yeah. So it might actually not be a bad thing to lose some people who that you consider to be your friends who are really just there because of where you're at.
That could be another, big reason why people do not make the jump that they want to do, is because, maybe the group of people they're around, So is there another hitting point you want to?
Well, I think a lot of this was, like I said, I was passionate about this topic because I think I can relate to a lot of people out there when it comes to, I mean, and you can attest to this of like, I'll buy a bunch of different gear thinking, oh, this, we need this. But at the end of the day, it's the content that matters. It's, people are not watching because you have, a 4K camera and all this stuff, it's like a psychological excuse that I put in my head, and I'm sure other people can experience it. They experience this as well. As it's like, well, I don't have the best equipment, but nowadays with your phones, like if you're interested in doing like media, like what we're doing nowadays, if you even have a smartphone, all of them shoot at least 1080 now, so you can do stuff like that.
And if you're finding excuses or reasoning on why you aren't doing what it is you want to do, then you're not going to get where you want to get to.
Yeah, you're kind of manifesting that energy out there. You're already telling yourself that you're not going to be successful, because that energy's out there. And here's the thing, again, let's say tomorrow both of us just quit our jobs and spent like the next 2 weeks, 50 hours a day, or not a day, LOL, 50 hours a week to just pursue this and like get leads, do whatever we need to do, whether it's clients for photography, whether it's film like 6 podcasts a day, whatever it is. I think in the amount of time we have a day, 16 hours, like you have, I mean, if you're sleeping 8 hours, you have 16 hours in the day. And if we're not going to work, you know, take out some time for eating, you have at least 10 hours. The amount of energy both of us could like put, like we could do that. And at the end of the day, let's say two weeks go by, we're not collecting any money, anything like that. What's the absolute worst that could happen? Like, what's
you fail and then you lose everything, I think.
You don't lose everything. Do you really think that it would be hard for you to get a job back at Amazon?
No,
or find a job similar to that?
You know what I mean? A job, yeah.
So yes,
absolutely.
you might put yourself in an inconvenient spot if you do mess up. But here's the thing that you're going to do for yourself is when you get way down the road, hopefully, when you get to that spot where you're like on your deathbed, and you're like, you're not going to have any regrets.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing of like, when you get there, are you going to wish you would have taken that?
Right.
You know, are you going to wish you would have?
You never know what you don't at least attempt or
Are you
try.
going to wish you would have spent 5 more hours at a job that could have replaced you in a second? Or are you going to be happy that at least you took the chance to go and do something and chase your passion? And even if it didn't work out, you had the experience, the good experience of doing it. And just think about how much happier you are. I've been so much more motivated just doing stuff like this lately. Just in other areas of my life, I've just been a more positive person as a result. Kind of like when you work out, you're just more positive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just an energy you put out there.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of all of this, the question is, well, where do you go from here? So for like, you know, where do you go if you're one of these people that,
well, ultimately I think you got to start small, you know, don't start too big on yourself. But I think everybody, if they took like, say 30 minutes of your day to just get away from everything else, whether it's like social media, whether it's, you know, roommates or friends or whoever, just take 30 minutes and just get away and just use that time to like focus on yourself and self-reflect on maybe who you are and like what it is you want to do and where it is you want to go, you know, like just 30 minutes a day, just on focusing on yourself.
One thing I've been challenging myself with is I'm a big picture thinker. And that's what I was telling you when we were planning this podcast. And a big part of that is how do we take the baby steps each day to get to the end result? And as you already mentioned, I think a big step to that is that, like, a challenge we want to put out there to all of you as well as to ourselves is to protect 30 minutes of your time, as he said, to invest into yourself. So if it's regarding your career, your passion, any goal you have, you know what I mean? 30 minutes of a 10-hour period of time. I mean, you can make that happen. And if you have kids, if you have distractions, lock yourself in the bathroom and just tell people you're taking a long poop. Like, it is what it is. 30 minutes a day.
Find somewhere where you feel like is a good place.
Anywhere
for you,
you can get,
learn.
whether it's in your car, whatever it is. You know, spend the time in it, whether it's reading, listening to podcasts, meditating,
journaling,
anything like that. That's going to help you. Find what you're passionate about if you don't already know. I think forcing yourself to spend time with yourself can be like a scary place, but also can be a very inspiring place
and
too.
There's like free assessments and free things you can do online, like to kind of.
Yeah, you can see kind of things about your personality, but it's not necessarily going to tell you what you're passionate about. I think a good thing to do is do something like this, and then after a couple months, take a step back and kind of see how that's been, see the progress you've made, and then readjust and make the adjustments you need to continue doing something like that. I think if you really I think there's 2 ways to find out where your passion is. It's where you spend your money, and it's where you spend your time.
Right.
So wherever those 2 things are aligning, or there's a big chunk of either of those things going to something, you know, a lot of people play a lot of video games.
You don't get time back.
You can make a career out of that. You know what I mean? Find out, if you don't know what your passion is or you're confused about it, find out where you're spending your time and where you're spending your money. That's a good place to start. And then after that, you know, again, just kind of recalculate, see what else you need to do, and then keep doing that 30 minutes a day. You know, get off of everything, social media, get off of everything, just meditate, take notes, you know, or if you're listening to podcasts, you know, jump into that. But I think if you do that, I believe that you'll hit your goals and you'll hit your passions and you'll do things like that. And I'm throwing that challenge out there for people to hold me accountable too, because that's kind of where I'm at right now is I'm trying to chase this. And right now there's a big umbrella of a lot of things I'm doing right now. Yeah. And I think to spend 30 minutes a day on that is a minimum. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one day at a time. Don't think of like the big picture, and just
think about a big picture enough so that you like are aiming for some sort of direction.
Yeah.
Don't just like do 30 minutes with no idea of what you're trying to do.
But one day at a time, obviously.
Yes. So think of your big goal and break it down as much as you can into daily steps to get you there. But you need to have some sort of destination.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, you could potentially end up going in circles or something like that.
I mean, you want to have an end goal. You want to have something you want to aim towards.
Something, whether it's a small thing like just being healthier.
But don't overwhelm yourself and feel like you have.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different ways to do that too. Is like if you're trying to be healthier, it's like, okay, so maybe today instead of eating 6 chocolate candy bars, I'm only going to eat 5. You know what I mean? Something simple. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then by the end of the week, you're only eating 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or 2 weeks or whatever it is. Or for me, coffee. I'm trying to eliminate caffeine.
Yeah.
So maybe for me, it's okay. Instead of drinking 5 mochas this week, I'm going to drink 4, or I'm going to make them smaller size and start to wean myself off. I mean, it's kind of like weaning off bad habits in that way.
Right. But, that's how you do it,
get a big goal and then you take one step at a time.
One step at a time.
But anyways, we posed the question out to you too. So if you're listening, find us on our social medias. We'll tag that in here. And if you're watching, I'll put it on the screen and comment below. Like, what are some things you're passionate about? What are some things you're trying to do that way, as we go through in the next podcast, different topics, maybe in a month or 2, we'll follow up on this and just see where Dylan and I are at and then kind of pose that question. But we want this to be an inclusive journey. I mean, as much as I'm sure you guys appreciate us just talking, I make that joke. I know you guys have stuff going on in your lives too. And so the whole reason, at least, and I think Dylan shares this, the whole reason that we're doing this is to hopefully add some sort of value and community here. We want to get people involved. So definitely reach out. Let us know what you guys are doing. And then I guess we can just leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. And this has been the Millennial View.